Alright, today I'm going to give you guys a detailed look at this Figma toy, and it's by Max Factory Good Smile Company, and it is the it's a big chapper, big chap from Alien, and this is SP108. And on the back of the box it shows some of the stuff that's included and then some poses. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we have the figure outside the packaging, so let's go over the accessories first. And first one is this beauty. We have a face hugger, and it has a interchangeable tail, and this one you could actually wrap it around a figure. One of those SH figure arts, those 6-inch characters, you could pop the head off and then wrap this one around his face, around the host, yes. And then as far as other accessories, we have the base, which is just translucent base, and then a pair of hands, and then an extra peg. So that's kind of neat. And then there's the tail of the face hugger. So you know what? Let me try it on a figure. Alright, so here I have Alien versus Spider-Man, and there's the face hugger wrapped around his neck there. And as far as the head, it's a little it's actually the nose is a little sticking out too much, so it doesn't really fit the face hugger, so I'm turning his head a little bit to the side for it to kind of work this way. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So you kind of have someone struggling on the ground or something, like the face hugger is about to attach. So yeah, so that's neat. Then if you want to remove it, all you need to do is pop the head off, and then you can slide that off. Or if you want, you could pop the tail off and then have it just be running around or something. That's kind of neat. So here's a big chap, and a good look at him from the front and from the side here. And then here's the back view. So let's get a close-up of Big Chap here. The dome, of course, is translucent. It's a little too translucent, I think. It needs a little bit of white in there for it to really look like the original one from 1978. And here the mouth opens, and I believe the tongue does stick out right there. Kind of cool. And just need to pop that back in, close his mouth, and the dome is not removable, so don't attempt to remove it. Oh, one thing that is removable is this piece back here. I believe this one you can remove. There's a peg right there. Just pegs onto there. And once you remove that, it gives him a bit more of a range of motion for the neck here. So there. Before, it could only go about that much, and then once you remove that, now you could actually look up. And at the end of this video, I'll put a couple of pictures I've taken a while back, because I keep forgetting to review this guy. It was only when someone mentioned it, when they were asking me, this person was asking me, oh, did you get the Figma Alien, the Figma Big Chap? And then I said, oh yeah, as a matter of fact I did, but totally forgot to review it. So that was a couple of weeks ago, sorry about that. If you're watching, finally decided to film this thing, and God knows when this will go up. But yeah, so as far as articulation, a really good range. And then you already saw some of it. As far as the shoulder, just ball hinge joint, so good range. And then elbows could bend about that much. And these really tiny pegs, these ball hinge joints, gotta be really careful, because you don't want to snap these. These are so tiny, and that's why they gave you a second one, I guess. And then the tubes back here, they are not movable. And then as for the chest, you could already see, you crouch. You could crunch, do a crunch about that much, and then arch back, not so much actually. Can't really do arch. Yeah, no, nothing really. Not even to the side. So nothing really other than doing a crunch forward. And then the legs, you guys pretty much saw it already. Ball joint. It could actually give you a really good range because they did cut the little joint right there for the thigh swivel. So once you lift that leg up, it could go really high. Actually, zoom out a little bit. Sorry, a little close there. And then here the legs could bend about that much, and it is on a single joint. And with all the Figma, you notice that this piece does stick out quite a bit. Some people might not like it, but I'm fine with it. It's not that big of a deal to me. Then the ankles are on a ball hinge joint, so it does give you a little bit of a pivot movement as well, side to side. And then there is no toes articulation. As for the tail, it is on the ball hinge joint back here, and did I? No, I didn't. Okay, thank God. There is it is pegged on here, so it's pegged on here, and then there is no more segment on the tail, so gotta be careful. This is the only segment you're gonna get, and it's not a bendy wire either, so gotta be careful with that. So yeah, there's the big chap. Let me, he could actually do a landing pose quite nicely. Let me see if I can mess with it a little bit more here on camera for you guys. Or maybe that. That looks kind of cool. I'm gonna flip this backwards a little bit. Let me put it on the ground. Alright, so here it is. I couldn't get too much out of this guy. The legs, even though it could move upward quite a bit, but the ankles aren't the greatest as far as the range, so it's not going to give you a whole lot. And then the head, it is quite an issue, even though after you've taken this off, still quite limited as far as the range of motion for the neck, unlike the NECA stuff where it could actually reach all the way back, so the Xenomorph could actually look up if it's crouching down, but this one you cannot do it. And it does feel a bit flimsy because of those joints. Those are really tiny joints. Almost all of it are pretty tiny, so you gotta be really careful with it. And you do feel like if you're doing too much, you're gonna break it, or it's gonna get super loose. You do feel that way, but I think with the NECA stuff, they're definitely a lot cheaper. And as far as posability and playability, I think the NECA one will give you a lot more playability than the Figma. The Figma looks good standing, and a couple of poses, nothing too dynamic. But yeah, and the price. I believe this thing is almost $100. I think it was 89 or somewhere around there, which is quite high for Xenomorph this size. You could have gotten a few, actually, at least 3 from NECA. So if you like building an army, I wouldn't go for this guy. I mean, this is nice and all, but I would go with the NECA stuff because it's just value-wise is better. Alright, so here's a comparison with some of the other figures I have here. First we have over here, we have the Kotobukiya Big Chap, and then we have SHF Iron Man, and then you can see the Figma Big Chap is really tiny, smaller than the 6-inch scale figure. It's about the same height as Vegeta from SHF, and over here we have the NECA, the first Big Chap from them. So it doesn't have the super articulated joints. It does have swivel hips, but you can see how small this thing is compared to some of the other big chaps from other lines. And here you can see all three of them, all the big chaps. So this thing is about 6-inch height, and that's it. This one's about 8, I believe. And same with the Kotobukiya, somewhere around there. And out of all of them, out of all the big chaps that I have, as far as paint job, the best one has to be the Kotobukiya. I really like the Kotobukiya one the most because of how well painted it is. You can see the dome is semi-translucent. It's a little bit milky, which is correct. And then just, let me do a close-up of those veins. Look at the translucent parts around his mouth. It's really, really nice. And then look at the pattern on his outfit, the skin. It's really, really good. It's done amazingly well. So if you're looking for a big chap, I say go with the Kotobukiya. That is definitely my favorite of them all. Look at that paint job. It's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, this is the one I would recommend if you're going for one. I say, yeah, get the Kotobukiya. The pose is nice. I mean, what are you gonna do with the big chap? I mean, just gonna have him standing anyway. So in the movie, it doesn't do much. So I think with this one, it's absolutely perfect. So there you have it. Back to Figma. So there you have it. There's the Figma big chap. Not the best.